Hi everybody, Glenn Marvin here. Welcome to another Performance Insights session for the US National Bank segment for April of 2022. And this month we're going to have a little bit of a look at the continued resurgence of Wells Fargo since they had their update. And in particular, we're going to look at Capital One and the journey that they've been on over the last 12 months. I have with me Head of Intelligence, Tony Patrick. Tony, I'll pass it over to you because there's a lot to go through, and as usual, not much time.
Great, thanks, Glenn. I'll jump straight into it then. So today we're covering off, as Glenn mentioned, the US national banks, and you can see there it covers Wells Fargo, Citibank, Bank of America, Chase, and Capital One. So we'll have a look at those today and how they're moving into April and what the trends have been. So let's have a look at what we've found. So there's a lot of chart going on here, but just let's have a look at what we've got. So what this score actually is, which is important, it's one of those questions I've had across this webinar series, is what is this number? It's not quite the same as what I'm seeing on my App Store rating, for example. What we're looking at here is actually what we call an engaged customer score. So it's those people who have given a score and a rating on any of your iOS or Android stores. So what's important about that is these people are engaged. They've got something to say. They've got something important to tell the business, and it makes this a very much more sensitive measure than what you see elsewhere. Things on the App Store, you might see your score is sitting at 4.1 continuous in the App Store, but that could be an average across the past 2 years. So it doesn't tell you much about the current situation. It just tells you, on average, over the past 2 years, your score is whatever it might be. So here, it's a very sensitive measure, which is why we can see things in here. There's a clear one here. If I put my mouse over Wells Fargo, we've talked about this previously. That there was a drop into March, and we can see that Wells Fargo is doing a very good job of potentially educating customers because they've had a bit of a UI change and a major app update, and it takes a while for that to move forward, and so then customers can take full advantage of that to actually then move Wells Fargo's score back beyond what it was previously. And we can see where it was previously. It was sitting sort of around between 4 and 4.25 continuously, but it did drop away. Now, if I look briefly, what I can do here is if I look at Wells Fargo across weeks, we can sort of see where is its journey been taking it across this time. So if I jump into here and I'll just clear away the others because there's a lot here week by week. Clear away Citi, Capital One, Bank of America, and just look at Wells Fargo on its own. What we can see there, it has sort of, well, not quite plateaued, but it has moved and jumped around a bit, but it has jumped up substantially since that low point in March. We can see there it's heading above 3.5 at the end of April, and so it's definitely improving, but it has got a little bit of room to move. So expect in the next sort of maybe 6 to 8 weeks for it to sort of get back to that normal level and potentially increase because of those new improvements. So what I'll do here, though, there's something interesting I've seen in this data this month that's intriguing. Well, what I'll do also, it's this one here, which is Capital One. So Capital One has been bumping around near 4.5 and also up against the top two there, which is our Citibank and US Bank. But what's happened over the past 3 months, you can see it's actually dropped away. It's continuously sitting at or just below 4.25. So although not a major movement, that's something you need to be aware of because we've seen banks previously that moved down slightly, but that continues across time. And if you don't fix those things, this can erode. So let's step into Capital One and see what's happened over that time. This next view here is having a look at just Capital One and having a look at iOS versus Android. Now, iOS has a lot fewer base size, a lot fewer people giving that feedback. But you can see there it has had a slight drop into January into April. But pretty much the big move is coming from this drop down here from Android. So something's happened there. And we can see a bit of sort of movement across time down as well. So let's move forward and see what else might be going on there. So for those familiar with this, you'll understand exactly what's going on. But for others, I'll just introduce this again here. I might actually get the order in the order of the way we describe this. This is what we call a SURF analysis. So we look at 4 key areas where you need to perform on to be the best in the market. So we look at security and authentication, usability, reliability, and functionality. And what we're looking at here are pain points. So lower is better. And one of the things we've found is if you are getting below 20%, you can start to lead the market. We can see why US Bank is doing so well. They have so few pain points across these 4 key areas. So only say 4.1% talking about functionality issues. And at the other end here, we've only got about less than 1% talking about security and authentication or login issues, whereas others are getting well beyond that, and even for Wells Fargo up to about 11% on this side here. But let's look at our area of focus here, which is Capital One. We can see there they're doing reasonably well, but there's a few sort of areas that they need to improve on. Let's see how they've gone across time, though, because that's an important piece. We can see here, this represents what we saw in the score, where it's declined over February into April. It seems to have peaked in March, so potentially they are on the way to improving that. But we can see there how it's impacted the score, and it's reflected here as well. And on each of these, we can have a look at, for example, where has this come from? We can sort of come down to things like, we can see there's been security issues in there as well. We can see there's a few reliability problems have also popped up at the same time. So what we can do, though, is have a look at a bit of detail. So let's look at that now. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at, I've gone down to a bit of detail here. So what I've done again is just seeing which specific things have actually gone wrong. So one of the things we can see here is that there's technical issues in general, but also I can see things about a bad mobile app update and poor authentication. So on the right here, I've just had a look at poor authentication and just selected that particular area there. So there's issues with signing in and logging in. So this authentication thing, people can't log in at all. Even this person who gave a 4 out of 5, they've been locked out and there's too many bad attempts to get in. And we can see here also, if you can see down here, this has actually come from an update, which is 5.95.13. So it would have been an update that's happened probably around March and April. And because what I'm looking at here is looking at the end of last year as compared to these last 3 months to see what's actually changed. So that's interesting. There's clearly some issues with logging in and biometrics, but also this area here, which is probably more than tripled, which is about a bad mobile app update. And what we can see there when it comes across on the right is the detail of what's happening here. So people are saying the constant upgrades are annoying. I hate the new update. It's hard to use. And again, we're looking at this update here of 5.95.13. So although these people are saying I don't like updates, potentially here I think they need to do an update to fix what's happening here with those login issues which have appeared recently. So that's a pretty good summary of what's going on with Capital One. It's not a major thing. It looks like they have it under control because it's improved slightly into April, but they need to watch out, make sure these new updates actually make a difference and improve things.
Yeah, thanks for that so much, Tony. And I think another great reminder in and around how it's the granularity that can help you determine what to focus on when that's going to give the greatest impact in regards to improvement. And the score is one thing, and it's great for the ego, and it's great to get out there on that. But the reality is when you're getting those improvements in scores, you're getting improvement in customer experience. And when you're getting that improvement in customer experience, it flows on to that whole bigger picture of retention and revenue. So again, thank you, my friend. Looking forward to next month's insights. And we'll be reminding you that if you want to get more of these and you want to make sure that you get in there first before everybody else, you can go through to our website for the full version of these and subscribe so that you get notified every time we launch any of these market insights. Thanks, folks.